and we look at the client and you're like, this person is generally healthy, but there's a couple things that have knocked them down. So we'll talk about how to qualify for that. First, lab check. That's our new underwriting program. That's the bring your own exam. This is good for up to age 60 and up to $10 million in coverage. Okay, so it's a wide range. We know it takes 2 weeks to get an exam scheduled, and depending on where you are, it may take longer than that. You may have trouble even getting an examiner to come out and see you. We know ordering an APS can often take 30 days or more. So using this lab check program, you can save 6 weeks, send us the exam, get it done quickly. And then finally, our Healthy Credit program. Again, like I said, this is an interesting program that we've worked with our reinsurers to do. If you have a client that is generally healthy, but there's 1 or 2 things that's knocking them out, we don't think they should get a worse underwriting class. In fact, we think we can improve them to be better. So we have a flyer on this. There are 9 criteria, things like A1C score, blood pressure, medical history, credit history, those kind of things. If your client meets 6 of those 9 criteria, we'll automatically bump them up by 1 class better, regardless of what the other underwriting results are. Okay? If your client meets 8 of those criteria, we'll bump them up by 2 classes. So you get a 2-class upgrade from that. That's our Healthy Credit program. Stop by, we'll talk more about that. Okay? Trying to make things faster, easier, more competitive from an underwriting standpoint so you guys can win, get business placed faster. All right. Something else that's not new to Columbus Life. That is the fact that for the 3rd year in a row, our president and CEO of Columbus and Lafayette Life, John Holtema, has come out to Leaders Convention to spend time with you. So, I want to welcome him shortly, but we're going to play a short video on the company, and then after that, please give a round of applause to John, our president and CEO.
Thank you for that round of applause. It's great to be here with all of you. It seems like every year I come, this room gets bigger and bigger and fuller and fuller. So congratulations to some record turnout. I want to thank Ron and Phil for having me back. I always enjoy being with this group. As has been referenced a number of times, the enthusiasm, the excitement, and the passion, whether you've been in this business for 20 years or you're just getting in it, is contagious, and it's wonderful to see. So I always look forward to it, as our team does as well. One thing about that video, the reason I play it, it always strikes me a couple things in there. Number one is how long our companies have been around and the things that we've weathered and gone through. It's really cool, I think, that Columbus Life was actually founded by producers for producers. And that ethos continues to run through our companies today. And at the heart of that message Whether it's the community involvement, whether it's the things that we do for our associates, our producers, it's service. And I think one of the reasons that we love working with FFS, because there's other companies that do what FFS does, but they don't do it the way you do. And one of the things that we love about the way you do it is I think service is also at the core of why all of you are here. Yes, you want to make money. You've got to put food on your table. Many of you are making more money than you ever thought you would make, which is awesome. But why did you get into the business? You wanted to serve yourself, to serve your family. And many times that involves buying a policy yourself. Many times that involves talking to your friends, family, neighbors, other people in your community, and how can you serve them. And so our company is centered and built on service. FFS, I think, is built and centered on service. So we have a lot of things in common that I really admire, and that's one big reason why we love working with your company and all of you. If you're going to sell service, and the theme of this conference is aim higher, one of the other things I love about our company, you can't aim any higher than our ratings in the IUL space. We are the highest rated carrier in the IUL space, and we're one of the top in the whole life space. So as I think about if I were inside, when I think about if I were going to go sell a product to my friends, my families, my neighbors, I want to make darn sure that I'm never going to have to apologize for anything that I sell. And I want to make darn sure that that company, yes, are they going to be around, but are they going to change things about that product over time? And as Matt talked about, that's another thing that's a core to who we are, is we stand 100% behind the things that we do, and we're very transparent in the way that we do it. And you will not find a company that has better and stronger capital than our family of companies. You can take that to whoever you sell those solutions to. It's something we're very proud of. One thing that I want to touch on, I do get questions sometimes about, okay, you talk about Western Southern, and then you talk about these other companies. And so this is just a really good visual to kind of show you all the different companies that make up the Western Southern umbrella. I have the pleasure of being president and CEO of two of them, Columbus Life and Lafayette Life. I also lead our distribution efforts for Gerber Life on the independent side. We've got a number of our team members that are here representing these companies. I'm also proud that we're one of the few companies that actually has 3 booths out there. One company, multiple solutions, all really good solutions under one story, one credit, one backing of a financial stream. So Western Southern Financial Group is the holding company, and then they own all those companies underneath. In addition to being in the life and health business, you can see we're also in the mutual fund business. We do investment management. We're also in the real estate business. And we think the diversity of our company and our earnings is one of the things that sets us apart and helps keep us as strong as we are. A few just quick numbers here, just to put in perspective the size. We are a Fortune 284 company. So what that means is we're the 284th largest company in the country. While we are large, though, what people tell me consistently is when they interact with our field and when they interact with us at the home office, we don't feel big, we feel small. And they feel like they're listened to, they feel like they're heard, we respond to the things that we hear. It's hard to get that from big companies. I think one of the great things about our firm, based on where we were started, is we have a bias to listening and we have a bias to acting on the things that we hear that our producers need. $2.2 billion in life and health premiums, $8.7 billion in annuity sales. Many of those were records for us in 2023, so while the markets were choppy, there's a lot going on. We have some record financial performance, which is very important to us. It's something that we watch closely. In addition to that, we're a very customer-focused organization. Again, more numbers here, but almost 6.5 million customers across the United States. We have just under 100,000 agents that are licensed to sell our solutions across the United States as well. But the advantage of these numbers and size to you is that it allows us to continue to invest in key technology to make us easier to do business with, to make things faster, to create more digital capabilities. And that's something that we're very committed to doing to make sure that we can serve our 6.5 million clients and almost 100,000 producers very effectively. Next, I want to talk about some challenges and opportunities ahead. And so I'm going to break this up into a couple different things. I've got some data that I want to share with you because I want to make sure to put into numbers why I have such optimism about this business. And if you're new in this business, I think you're at a great spot coming into this industry, and things have never been better in terms of your opportunity to sell life insurance to more people because they are ready and primed to listen and they're ready and primed to buy. But one thing before I get into that, I think it's important whenever you approach a challenge to have the right mindset. And FFS has the Champions Club, right? There's champions in here, right? I think you got together earlier today. But I want to talk a minute about what does it take to have the mentality of a champion. If I ask most people, I bet most of you would say they win a lot, they're really good at what they do, and they just execute and get stuff done all the time. Which in many cases, if you look at someone who's a current champion, that is true. But I came across a talk that Roger Federer did, and you can probably know Roger Federer. He's one of the greatest tennis players in the world, won as many or nearly as many championships as any other tennis player that's ever existed. And there was something that he said that really struck me. He was looking back on his career, and he said, I looked at all the matches and all of the points that I played in my entire career. And he said, I won 80% of the matches, which I thought, okay, champion, you'd expect to win a high percentage of their matches. But here's what really struck me and stuck with me. He only won 54% of all the points he played. So here's a champion, one of the best in the world. He loses almost half the points he plays. That was staggering to me. I never really thought of it in those terms. And one of the things that I think is relevant here, you've heard some of these things on stages, is being a champion requires you to learn how to deal with hard moments, and being a champion requires you to learn how to lose. You don't hear champions talk about that much, right? So the mindset that I want you to have as you think about these numbers is when you go out of here and you try to sell a policy and you try to recruit another agent into your network, you're going to hear no a lot. You might hear no 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. Well, if the world's greatest tennis player can hear no about 50% of the time and still be a world champion,
เดี๋ยวจะเข้ามาดู
the message there is fantastic, right? Because there's an opportunity on the
ข
other
นาด
side
จะ
of
เมื่อย
that.
กูยังจะหลับเลย
You just got to have that mentality and learn to deal with those hard moments. That's what champions do. So let's talk a little bit about the opportunity in the industry itself. You are all in a great spot. There's a lot of good news here. The need for financial security, the need for advice has never been higher, particularly in the middle market, which is a big chunk of the market that all of you here serve. Serving the middle market for a lot of companies can be a challenge because you've got to be present and be in the markets to serve them. And everybody thought that the internet and digital was going to solve all of that. Well, guess what? It hasn't. People still want to talk to people. Yeah, they might do research, they might check things out, but they still want to talk to a person when they're making a critical financial decision. I think FFS and all of you are perfectly positioned to take advantage of this. And you're doing a great job. FFS is growing at a very rapid rate. We work with a lot of different distribution companies, and you guys are doing one of the best in terms of your growth rate. So congratulations and hats off to that great trend. So I want to look a little bit at the industry here. So if you look off to the right, that's 2024, the first quarter. And if there's any bad news in this story, one of them is that industry growth has slowed down a bit. So if you look back in 2021, see the 18%, the orange, that's premium growth. Now a lot of that was funded because of the COVID pandemic. People rushed in because they wanted to buy insurance. You also had a lot of premium finance going on at that time. That has obviously switched now that rates have changed. And frankly, premium growth has begun to slow, as has policy growth. But the good news story here is take a look at this line. This looks at it based on product. So I know many of you in this room sell IUL. That's the product on the left. Whole life is off to the right. But look at that orange line, up 19% in terms of policies. That's a phenomenal amount of growth in an industry that generally is flat or only growing 1%. And what we're seeing there is smaller premium size policies getting sold, but more of them. So you're getting more policies in the hands of buyers. And there's a couple dynamics going on here. Part of it is younger buyers are now coming into the market, which is a huge positive for our industry because we're kind of waiting for that to happen. Many times we would talk about millennials, Gen Zers, are they going to buy insurance? And the answer is yes, they're beginning to, and they're planning, and they want to know more about these products and how they can help them. So I think this is a really good news story for our industry, as well as new technologies come in to allow us to do more product, less invasive, faster approval processes, more digital, getting the paper out. It makes it easier. So more people want to buy it. So that's critical, and that's what we're very focused on. That phenomenon has not yet occurred in whole life. You'll notice it's up, but not nearly as much. I think some of that rapid issue success in IUL is going to begin to transfer to whole life. We're launching a rapid issue whole life product later this year, and I think you'll begin to see more traction there and some policy follow IUL in a very similar fashion. But a good news story there. I next want to talk about just the overall universal need for financial security. It doesn't rest in any one particular segment. It's a very broad need. And the other thing that I want to share with you is the numbers have never been higher in terms of the potential and the interest in the product out in the market. So when you're going to talk to people and you're thinking about, okay, there's a lot of them out there, how many are actually going to want to listen to what I have to say? Everybody thought that after the COVID pandemic, the interest in life insurance would peak and it would begin to fall. But what this data shows, if you look at the bottom, follow the 40% across to the 42% in 2024, that's the percentage of people that say they need more if they own it, or they want to have it if they don't. And that number has gotten higher since the pandemic. It's never been higher. Naturally, if you go to the right, that looks at the number of people. So this is the number of individuals that make up that 42%. It's 102 million. Now, last time I checked, there's roughly around 400,000 people licensed to sell life insurance in the United States. That means there's roughly 250,000 prospects for each one of you in this room. Is that a big enough pond to fish in for anybody?
Yes.
So just tremendous opportunity that exists based on that interest. The other fascinating thing is, so when people don't buy life insurance, or they don't own it, why not? Okay? And what this slide shows, interestingly, the funniest thing about this is they separated wild guess and gut feeling. I would kind of put the two together. I don't know. Maybe my gut feeling is better than a wild guess, but I feel like a wild guess and a gut feel are the same thing. But anyways, it's separated here. 40% of the reason is they say it's a wild guess about price, and they're off by almost 5 times. So what this means is that people need to be educated about the product. They're not buying it because they maybe think it costs $1,500 a month when it really costs $800, or they think it costs $3,000 a month when it really costs $1,500 a month. That's a huge amount of disinformation and wrong information many times as to why they're not buying the product. So number one is wild guess in terms of the price, and then number 2 is gut feeling. So tremendous opportunity to educate clients on the value that this product will bring, and the fact that it actually is affordable, that they can get it, and all the benefits that it provides. The other thing that I want to share is the size of these segments are massive. These are not niches. The smallest one on here is 44 million people. And I put them on this slide because of all the 102 million that I showed you, these 4 segments express the most interest in wanting to own a life insurance product. Okay? Now, the key to reaching these segments, and that's one of the challenges in the life insurance business today, is that we don't have enough diversity in our agency force. That does not exist here.
My
at
niece and
FFS,
nephew
which is
eat.
fantastic. So you are all very well equipped to go after some of these massive segments. It's known that there's more women that are head of household. Women love to work with other female advisors. They just do. They get them better. They want to work with them. Younger advisors want to work with, or younger buyers want to work with younger advisors. I was talking to an FFS agent last night, and they said, we go talk to 50 or 55-year-olds, and we're maybe 30 or 35, and 20 years younger. They don't always want to hear financial advice from somebody who's 20 years younger than them. That's a good example of needing to have an agency force that looks like the population is large and be able to go after these health insurance because they're vast. Now let's just double click for a minute into the middle market, because we could talk about large policies, the upper side of that, but the middle market is really the biggest segment that's underserved that has this need. So I wanted to show you, as you break that down, where does that 102 million add up? So I'm a former banker, so I have to call out a math error on here. If you look to the right, that actually totals 103 million for any checking. So we rounded off a little bit. But the point is, the 50 million, if you look all the way to the right of the middle, it shows 50,000 to 150,000 in income. 50 million of that 102 million sits in the middle market. It's massive. And the good news is, they want to talk to somebody. They're not willing to figure this all out on their own online, right? 60% of them want to work with an advisor. So you have a massive market. You have a moment in time where the interest has never been higher in the product. And 60% of the people that need something around their financial future want to talk to somebody. Sounds like a wonderful opportunity. All the math adds up. It's just a matter of getting out there and finding them and taking the same meal every day and making it happen. This to me is the money slide. So as I said before, I was in banking for a time. We offered a lot of different financial products, financial solutions, credit cards, checking, savings. I never once heard somebody come up to me and say, you know what, now that I bought that credit card or have that credit card, I feel so much more secure about my financial future. You know what? Now that I have that home equity loan, I feel so much more secure about my financial future. Look what life insurance does. A 20% lift. I don't think there's another financial product out there that makes somebody feel more secure about caring for their family, but then also that they've cared for the future of their family. And you've heard the stories in here today. There's been many of them. But this is one that I like it because it puts it in numbers. It puts it in terms of percentages. And I think it's just a great reminder of why you're doing what you're doing and why you want to go out and get that next sale, because you're helping people, you're serving. Last one that I like to include, this is not earth-shattering anymore, but it still just shocks me in terms of the percentage of people, particularly the younger millennials and Gen Zs, where they go to get not a recipe or not the coolest TikTok. This is for financial information, right? So if you're not using these channels, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube are the biggest, to reach people and help educate your audience, you're missing a huge opportunity. I think the interesting thing, though, about these channels, we're beginning to see a shift from just using them to educate, and obviously then creating that interest in education into buying. And we've seen a big shift. Some agents are very, very good at using these to create good leads that convert to sales, and some are using them just to create buzz and interest, but they don't convert to sales. So trying to figure that out, I think, is kind of the next iteration of where this is going to go. But make sure that you have a strategy of how you're going to use these channels to promote yourself, promote what you're doing, promote education, because they're big in the industry. Matt just touched on this, but for those of you who do business with us, we thank you very much. We value relationships very much. If you don't know much about us and you're interested, there's going to be several opportunities for you to engage with our team. Number one, outside the hall, we've got our 3 booths manned by some excellent associates